to Sensational Sex audio series. But like all audio recording programs, we highly recommend frequent listening. By committing to regular listening and following through with...
Welcome to the wonderful but sometimes confusing world of erections. The erect penis can be a man's greatest glory, but his inability to have an erect penis can be his most monumental catastrophe. This aims to give you up-to-date information about and treatment for the quickest and most reliable program for achieving and maintaining erections with confidence. The material is perfect for the man who has been experiencing problems with his erections, but can also be useful for the man who up till now has always found his erection adequate when he wanted it to be. You see, there are many physical causes of erection failure, so because knowledge is power, all men are advised to learn about these in order to prevent the worst from happening. Put more emphatically, if you want your dick to be your best friend, you'd better know all you can about taking care of it. This is relevant for both the single man without a partner and for couples. The single man may have more of a challenge with the treatment advice when it comes to including a partner, but in the early stages of the program, he can actually be at an advantage because he can focus on learning techniques to attain and maintain erections which rely on sole practice. If you have had or are now experiencing erection problems, don't feel too bad. You're not alone. At least 10% of men are currently experiencing problems achieving or maintaining an erection. There are two possible causes, the medical or the psychological. And sometimes lack of erections can be caused by both. This is going to focus on treating psychological causes of erection failure. If you are concerned that you may have a physical problem, or even just to make sure, I'd like to recommend you go and see your medical doctor and have a physical checkup. Since an erect penis requires a good blood flow, you may need a test to assess this. Some men actually insist on first trying a physical solution to their erection problems. You might well ask a question like, well, hang on, if the problem's caused by a psychological issue, why fix it physically? Well, you might ask, it's because men often want the easy way out, and, well, sometimes it is an option. For a while there was really only one option for physical treatment, the penile injections. But more recently there are two more options, the oral pill and the penile pill. So first of all, the injections, intracavernosal injection or self-injection therapy as it's called, can be an effective treatment for erection that men can use independently at home. It can cause an erection typically in about 95% of men who use it, and this erection can last for several hours and continues well after ejaculation. So the combination of sex counselling and self-injection treatment can be suitable for those men who are extremely concerned about satisfying their partner, have high anxiety, have problems with their pipe works, or are resistant to counselling and they just want a medical approach. The problems with injections for some people is, though, that the woman complains that it's an artificial way of stimulating her man's penis. Some guys find it a bit embarrassing and even a little bit painful to be injecting into their penis. And an additional side effect, which can be extremely distressing, is called priapism. It's named after the Greek god Priapus, who had a permanent erection. For example, one of my clients had a 24-hour erection which caused him severe pain and put him in hospital for additional treatment which cost him heaps of money, much less heaps of embarrassment. But you know, if he had delayed that treatment, he may have permanently damaged his penis. So actually, money was the least of his worries. Would you like that to happen to you? Indeed, if you have any doubt, go look up Priapus in a book and check out that distorted grin on the face of the statue. It's pretty ugly. It doesn't look as though he even enjoyed having a permanent erection. So what else can you try? Well, we've all heard of this absolutely amazing wonder pill, Viagra. And at first it seemed that Viagra was going to offer a very easy way to physically handle a problem with an erection. But as with most chemical agents, unfortunately there have been a few side effects, including heart attack or death. Not a good look. And I've heard that Viagra is only successful in about 65% of men. The other thing is that apparently you still do have to be very aroused before the magic pill works. An even more recent kind of pill that you can use is called the penile pill. And in this case, you put a very small gel-like capsule down the eye of the penis. It sounds a bit uncomfortable, but isn't too bad. And this is an exceptionally good product for gentlemen who do have problems with their pipeworks, because you're pretty well guaranteed to be able to get an erection. Well, you may or may not want to pursue the path of physically treating your psychologically caused erection problem with injections or oral or penile pills. It's all up to you. What I do recommend as the sex therapist is that you also look at the psychological problem and look at how you can psychologically manage it. So we've been talking about how physical options may be easy or not so easy to use, but on the brighter side, there is something now that's very organic and very well founded. It's like an aphrodisiac made by nature just for you. It's an extract called Avena sativa, which has proved to be a powerful aphrodisiac and produces no adverse side effects. It's a biologically standardized extract of green oats that's manufactured in compliance with homeopathic guidelines. It contains no colorings, preservatives, or any other substance that's harmful in any way. It's interesting that green oats contains an ingredient that stimulates sexual feelings. And in the light of such popular terms as feeling your oats or sowing your wild oats, which have long been used as sexual metaphors, it's no wonder that oats are considered the symbol of strength, vigour, and virility. This natural aphrodisiac is formulated to naturally enhance sexual libido in both men and women. What it does is it helps stimulate the body's own natural production of testosterone, the hormone responsible for sexual desire in both men and women. It helps to split the protein-testosterone bond, and this enables more free-form testosterone to be used by the body for sexual virility. Some men are desperate to prove that their erection difficulties are due to a physical problem. For them, it means there's a real cause, and the doctor can treat this, maybe with injections. I've often wondered why it's somehow more socially acceptable to have a physical problem than a psychological one. But if the tests show nothing, you'll probably have to accept responsibility and be prepared to give yourself a head job. Look at your own mind. The penis is not necessarily the most important sex organ, the brain is, and so it should be logical that what's going on in the mind may need to be looked at in order to solve blocks to successful performance. Well, you may or may not want to pursue the physical treatment programs, but do be sure that you have handled the major contributors to physical causes of erection problems. If you want to prolong your potency, follow these essential guidelines. Eat a low cholesterol, low fat, high fibre diet. Maintain your appropriate weight. Keep your blood pressure normal. Exercise regularly, at least 3 times a week. Don't smoke, chew or sniff tobacco or other drugs, and if you do drink alcohol, please drink moderately. Sometimes it's possible to rule out most of the physical causes of erection problems just with some simple self-evaluation. If everything that follows is true, your erection problem probably doesn't have a physical cause. So if you're in good health, you don't abuse alcohol or drugs and haven't in the past, you're not currently taking any medications, you've suffered no injury or trauma to your pelvic area or nervous system, you have normal morning erections, most of the time you awake with an erection. When you masturbate, you can get a full firm erection and sustain it. And if your desire for sex is about the same as it was before the erection problem started, chances are your problems are psychological, perhaps the result of stress, tension, or emotional pressures. Some men can link the onset of their erection problems to pressures on the job, at home, or in their relationship with their wife or lover. Before we proceed with full-on exploration of your erection stability, let's look at a very important variable, your age. I want to make sure that your expectations of your performance are realistic. Because it's true that as you age, you undergo changes, normal changes. The differences are not necessarily apparent overnight. You won't notice a sudden change in performance when you turn 40 or 50 or 60, unless perhaps you persuade yourself that such will be the case. Changes occur gradually, but some changes are almost universally associated with aging. A healthy young man in his teens and early 20s should have no trouble getting erections. In fact, he may embarrass himself with erections in awkward situations. A man who's in late adolescence or early adulthood can have intercourse 2 or 3 times within a fairly short period of time. At a young age, a man's sexual appetite is strong, and so is his ability to get an erection. Consequently, on a purely physical level, foreplay may not be tremendously important, and in fact, for some men this age, foreplay doesn't even exist. As a man gets older, it will usually take him a longer time to reach orgasm and ejaculate. He may in fact find it easier to control his ejaculation and to delay it. And generally, as a man gets older, he'll notice that his orgasms may be somewhat less intense, and the amount of fluid he ejaculates is somewhat less. The orgasm itself may last a shorter period of time. Even men in their 30s may notice this last change. Then, as a man ages more stimulation and time may be required before he attains a firm erection. Caressing the penis may become a necessary and, of course, still pleasurable prelude in order for an older man to achieve an erection. Then, as a man goes into his later years, he may find a difference in the firmness of erections. By itself, this small change usually poses no problem. A catch-22, however, is that older women often have less vaginal lubrication, another natural result of aging. The combination of a slightly less firm penis with a drier vagina can make intercourse difficult. But never fear, a solution is readily at hand. Just use a water-based lubricant, something like KY jelly. After ejaculation, the older man will lose his erection more quickly than he did in his younger years. A young man might still find himself with an erection after ejaculation, but it's certainly not typical of a man in his 50s or older. Also, the time period between erections may increase noticeably. Understandably, this is probably the most disturbing and unwanted change. For some men in their 60s, it may be hours between erections, even with stimulation, and for others, it may be days. So first of all, ask yourself, are you expecting what's normal of you at your age in terms of what you want to have in your regular erections? Now it's important to assess the severity of your erection concern. Most men at one time or another have problems with erections. Fatigue, preoccupation with other things, drinking too much, being nervous. Hundreds of things like this can cause problems with erections. Luckily, most of them are caused by temporary fears or anxieties, and they usually straighten themselves out without the need for a special program. Okay, I can hear some of you saying, but that's great. How long do I have to wait, Jan? I've been having problems for quite a few months now. Well, if the problem has continued long enough to concern you or your partner, if it even seems to be getting worse rather than better, or if you're increasingly tense and uptight when you try to make love or even when you think about it, or, if worse, you are actually avoiding sex, then it's probably time for you to begin a special program. You see, the major cause of erection problems is what we call performance anxiety. This is the fears and concerns that arise out of feeling that you have to perform with sexual excellence. Zilbergeld, in his book Men and Sex, points out that the ideal male performance in society's mind is a penis is 2 foot long, hard as steel, stiff as a rod, and can last all night. Well, how can you live up to that expectation when the reality is that most men last with an inserted penis in the vagina for 2 to 5 minutes? And it's normal for a penis to go up and down during a sexual encounter. I've known of many men whose erection does go down while giving oral sex, but don't worry, it goes up immediately when they receive oral sex from their partner. So you don't have to be a sexual athlete, or you get caught up in the vicious cycle, which goes something like this. For one reason or other, perhaps you're overtired or maybe having drunk a little too much, you can't get an erection. Next time you try harder and harder, paying attention to the fact that you have to get it up. Soon the anxiety caused by this leads to a continuing inability to get an erection. You just keep getting anxious, and the very fact that you're thinking and worrying about erections prevents them from happening. Soon you begin to avoid sex altogether for fear that you will appear to be a fool, a weakling, or not quite a man. This is a vicious cycle because avoiding sex doesn't help either. This performance anxiety also explains that very common problem of the man's losing his erection just as he attempts to insert his penis into his partner's vagina. This is the point where his performance anxiety is greatest because he thinks, now I'm committed, I have to finish the sex act completely, otherwise I'm not performing as a man should. Here's some examples. There was Kim, who was 30. Well, he was naturally shy with women. He liked being with them, but he couldn't commit to anything serious in a relationship. His erection problems began when he was having sex casually, but he had failed to achieve erections a few times with a few different women. Whereas Harold, who was 55, had been experiencing trouble getting and keeping an erection during sex, and he thought it was just because he was getting older. Harold realised he was trying hard to perform both at work and at home, and Harold put a lot of pressure on himself. Harold hated to fail. It was hard to admit that at home he was trying to cope with not being able to do what should come naturally to a man. Harold had tried injections but found them inconvenient, and he didn't want to have to rely on them. There's another kind of unexpected performance anxiety. I call it the "you can't screw the Madonna" complex. And I've seen it typically present with very handsome young men who come for sex therapy. They've been screwing around successfully for years, but suddenly they meet the girl of their dreams and suddenly find their penis will not rise to the occasion. For instance, there was Adam. He was a well-known league footballer, and by the time he was 24, he'd been enjoying all sorts of ardent football groupie fans. When Adam met Kate, he fell deeply and madly in love with her. Not just with her beauty, but with her heart, mind and soul as well. He loved her sense of humour, her ability to talk to anyone and charm the socks off them. She was interested in things he liked, even boy things like fishing and scuba diving. So at first Adam was distressed, but then became disgusted with himself when he found that here he was finally naked with this gorgeous creature, and he couldn't get it up, much less keep it up over time. So the Madonna complex is when a man who has been used to successfully having any sort of sex with all sorts of women finally meets the woman he loves. He's been so used to taking women's sexual favours for granted that his performance, used to, but no longer can be taken for granted. When he realises he has to perform for the Madonna, the goddess, he feels so overawed, so inadequate, so self-conscious that it's like his penis goes out in sympathy and won't become erect. This is a great cause for consternation and anxiety, and so the vicious cycle continues, with the beautiful woman often contributing to the problem by being worried that she can't turn the man on. You see, in the past, she's had no trouble with men because she's so danged beautiful. She's always been pursued by men. So she becomes concerned at first, and then convinced it has to be her problem. She gets a complex that she's ugly to him, and that's why he's not getting an erection. He then gets guilty because she's taking the blame, and then he gets even more anxious to try to disprove her theory. And with all this pressure, his erection becomes even less likely to occur. What a comedy of errors, and all because of his negative and unrealistic thoughts. So what can be done to fix this problem with erections? Well, you need a two-pronged approach. Treat both the negative beliefs and thoughts and the failing behaviours. The key to successful sex is to have positive beliefs, knowledge, realistic expectations, and move gradually but systematically from sexual situations in which there are no demands for performance from the man, that is, no need to develop an erection, to situations in which he'll be able to obtain an erection and enjoy intercourse without anxiety. Just a note now for the guy who doesn't have a regular sexual partner. At some point you really will have to find a partner who you can trust and who'll have patience if necessary to let you apply the techniques you learn now. But for the first stages of the treatment program, you have the advantage, because you can overcome your problem without the fear of humiliation or rejection. Now firstly, let's change your negative attitude by changing terms. Erection problems have been typically called impotence. Let's stop thinking about yourself as impotent. Instead, you can think of yourself as suffering from an occasional behavioural problem. Once you think of the problem this way, I hope you'll realise that it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you as a man. It's much easier to come up with specific ways of changing a behaviour than it is of changing the thoughts. A very powerful technique that changes your thinking is called self-talk. Self-talk's what we call the thoughts that we all have that go around in our heads like audio tapes, saying the same things over and over again. For example, most people know about the story of the train who made it up the impossible hill by saying, "I think I can, I think I can." People also know about self-fulfilling prophecies, where if you think something bad is going to happen, then it probably will. It's the same with sex. For men with erection problems, they usually have thoughts before sex like, "I hope I don't lose it. I'm worried about losing it. I know I'll lose it." This sort of thinking results in men getting more anxious and talking themselves into the very thing they're trying to avoid. Changing the tapes in our heads can be done, and it's a powerful method to help with erection problems. In a moment, I'm going to suggest an exercise which can help you identify your negative thoughts about erections. But this exercise requires you to masturbate, and some people have negative thoughts even about that, and that may get in the way of even beginning our exercise. You know, the problem with the term masturbation stems from society's old-fashioned view. Even the word sort of sounds a little bit, bad taste. I read about one sex therapist who prescribed self-stimulation or masturbation for a woman. The woman said to her sex therapist that she had successfully overcome her problem, but there was a question that was troubling her. "Was I masturbating?" she said. "Well," replied the therapist, "some people might call that, but let's call it self-pleasuring." "Thank goodness," said the lady, "I was afraid I was masturbating." Now, you can call it self-stimulation, self-pleasuring, whatever you call it, just don't have those negative connotations. I mean, how do you feel about masturbation? Is it abnormal, a bit embarrassing, not necessary, or even totally against your beliefs? The masturbation you're required to do now to overcome your erection problem is a little bit different because it's about you learning about your body. It's different to sex with a partner because it provides an opportunity to learn and practice new techniques. It removes the pressure to perform as there's no worries about satisfying a partner or lasting longer. Masturbation can also relieve some of the sexual tension you may be feeling, and this will help you feel much better all round. Finally, masturbation can help you focus on you. Many men with erection problems are so concerned about their partner's enjoyment that they don't focus on their own enjoyment. Masturbation helps you to focus on your sexual response, and then you can learn to change it. Some men have been raised to think that masturbation is totally wrong or abnormal. You need to learn to challenge and change your limiting beliefs and learn to masturbate without anxiety or guilt. Ideally, masturbation needs to be a comforting and pleasurable way to express your sexual feelings and enjoy your own body. So here's your first homework exercise. You need need to masturbate alone 3 times on different days in the next week. Choose a quiet place free from interruptions and when you can most likely become sexually aroused. The idea is to learn a technique called sensate focus, which means to focus on your body's pleasurable sensations. When you first begin to masturbate, tune in to all the changes that happen in the body as it becomes aroused. Using touch, explore all parts of your body to discover what's sensually exciting and what's sexually arousing. Don't just touch your penis. Explore all over and enjoy. The idea is to learn what the body responds to and what is enjoyable. The second and third times that you masturbate, you need to practice a technique called stop-start. This is how you do stop-start. First, you achieve an erection, and second, when you're erect and aroused, stop touching the penis for a short time. It's important to stop touching early on to prevent getting to the point of inevitability and ejaculating. Step 3, allow the penis to soften, but not all the way down, and focus on what is happening to the penis, the body, and the sense of sexual excitement. The aim is to learn what it feels like to be aroused, not too little or not too much. Step 4 is to start stimulating the penis again until the full erection returns. Step 5, stop again, and concentrate on what is happening to the penis and the body, and then start again. Step 6 is to practice this technique a couple of times and then masturbate to ejaculation if you then desire. This stop-start technique can be practiced as often as possible, as it's an exercise in learning about the body's response and how to control it. It's very important to learn how to delay the orgasm and how it feels to be aroused. Not so aroused as to orgasm, nor so under-aroused that the erection is lost. The aim is to learn the optimum level of arousal and learn to stay at that level as necessary. Some men are afraid of losing their erections and that it causes them to ejaculate too soon. Well, here's a fact you need to know. You don't need an erection to orgasm and ejaculate. Even with a soft penis, if you stimulate it for long enough, ejaculation will occur. So if you're worrying about losing your erection, it's not such a concern if you know that you can still have an enjoyable time and climax anyway. Let's now think about sex with a partner. We'll use an exercise first that will help you check in with your head stuff. We'll challenge any of your negative thoughts. We'll rehearse mentally to avoid any extra pressure. Masturbate alone and fantasize about your partner. Imagine having foreplay, and then imagine the time just before you enter her vagina. Be aware of any of your negative thoughts that you have about not lasting or not being able to keep your erection. After you masturbate, write down your thoughts. You'll probably think that they're ridiculous by then, and you don't really believe them, but just know when you're in that sexual situation, they're often powerful influences. After you've written them down, change them to something more positive. For example, negative statements can become more positive, such as, change, I hope I don't lose it, to, I'm going to enjoy sex and not worry about my erection. Change, I've never lasted very long, so this won't work, to, I'm learning to last longer, so it doesn't matter when I come. It's time to experience sensate focus. This is erotic pleasuring with a partner. In the first stage, we concentrate on all erogenous zones except the genitals. This is a great exercise that's fun and sensual. It might remind you of when you first met your partner and how you got to know each other's bodies and how exciting that was. Too often, sex gets into a rut. This exercise is designed to take all the pressure off you and your partner. All you have to do is lay back and enjoy it. You've got to find a time when you can not be interrupted for 40 minutes. Both of you need to be relaxed, rested, and feeling sensual. Create that special atmosphere. Use music and candles and incense. Then toss a coin to decide who's the giver and who's the receiver. Undress each other slowly. The receiver lies down and takes time to relax, and the giver touches the receiver all over his or her body, but not the breasts, penis or vagina. The receiver tells the giver how they like to be touched by saying harder, softer, more gentle, faster, slower, or whatever. Keep the comments positive and say, I'd like, rather than directive and say, don't do that. The giver is to explore the other's body using different types of touch, such as massage, kissing, licking, tickling, and take 10 minutes for each person and then do the exercise a second time. Do the exercise at least twice a week, but after each time you're not allowed to have sex. You can have sex on other occasions during the week, but not after the exercises. Avoid being negative or complaining or getting annoyed. Remember, it's impossible to read another person's mind. Ask for what you want. And don't let yourself get caught up with going for the penis, vagina and breasts. The aim is for sensual awareness, not sexual activity. After each time you do the exercise, it's so important that you talk together about what you learnt, what you liked and what you loved. The second stage of erotic pleasuring or sensate focus is an extension which does include touching the genitals. The idea is not to have orgasms or ejaculations, but to enjoy being sexual together without the pressure. Many women don't know how to masturbate a man, and many men don't know how to masturbate a woman to orgasm. So this exercise is all about touching each other's genitals, and maybe an orgasm might happen when you least expect it. As with the masturbation exercises, allow the penis to go down a bit, and then begin touching again. Breathe deeply and relax. Allow your mind to wander and notice how you're feeling aroused in your whole body. Don't just focus on the feelings in the penis. Try to stop and start a few times and practice 2 or 3 times on different occasions. It doesn't matter who goes first in this exercise, but if the man masturbates the woman first, he should make sure that he isn't too aroused when she starts touching him. Practice your self-talk and stay at optimum level of arousal and keep communicating. The goal is to keep the man from experiencing any anxiety, so don't worry about whether you're getting an erection or not. Get used to your partners touching your penis when it's soft as well as when it's hard. If you're still not completely aroused, try to use erotic fantasies. Think of images that really turn you on. Lie back and close your eyes. But just achieving an erection is not the full goal. Maintaining the erection is important too. Once you're confident in your ability to have an erection, it's an easy step to the achievement of orgasm with intercourse. Use everything you've learned, all the erotic play, oral or manual stimulation, sensate focus and massage, and if you want, erotic fantasies. Let yourself go. Step 3 is all about allowing yourself to have intercourse gradually and easily. The idea is to practice staying at the optimum level of arousal inside the vagina. We recommend that you do it with the woman on the top position, because this is less stimulating on that very sensitive part of the penis, the frenulum, which is underneath the head. Work out a time when you can do this exercise together without interruption. Start off by touching the genitals and enjoying the feelings of arousal and sensuality. The man is to lay on his back and the woman is to get her partner aroused to a full erection. Then allow the penis to go down a little. Then the woman is to sit astride the man and allow the vagina to accept the penis. Allow the penis to enter the vagina, and the woman is not to move. She's only to move when asked to. This will gently stimulate the penis with the vagina. Practice stop and start. If you get very aroused, stop moving and allow the arousal to subside. I know staying still can be difficult as you'll both be feeling powerful urges to make love, but it's important not to. So, is this a permanent cure? That's difficult to say because few things in life are permanent. What I can say though is that once you're consistently achieving firm and satisfactory erections, then that old saying comes into force, success breeds success. But if future problems do occur, you know what to do. Start your own sex program once again, going through the 3 stages of sensate focus and using the techniques you've already mastered. So just to sum up the common obstacles to achieving and maintaining erections, it's often because you're anxious about performing, fears about being too old to have enjoyable sex or not feeling like you're a real man. You might have a partner who's critical and fed up. I guess sometimes you just want it to go away and you procrastinate, and other times you've just got too much to do and you're far too busy to do anything about it. Your stress, illness and unhealthy lifestyle could also be contributing to your erection problem, and you need to move through the step-by-step program. Communicate with your partner, don't avoid sex. Have sex that doesn't necessarily mean you penetrate. Adopt a healthy lifestyle, learn the stop-start technique, and don't forget to read a good self-help book. Real men do read, don't leave it all up to your partner. Learn to relax. Deep breathe, use positive self-talk and focus on feeling good. The following relaxation tape will help you learn to relax and help you focus intensely just on enjoying sex. So it's time now just to switch off your conscious mind and just lay back and relax. So make sure that right now that you'll have no interruptions, at least for a 10-minute period. Get yourself very comfortable. You can be sitting down or laying down. And start by taking a big deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your body even more and just let your eyes close. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, allow your body to relax completely. If there are any places that feel tight or tense in your body, any places that you feel you're holding on to, very gently put your mind and your awareness into those places and allow them to relax and let go. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, relax your mind. Allow your thoughts to just drift by. As soon as you have a thought, just let go of it and let it drift right on through. Almost imagine that your mind is like a very lazy stream of water, just flowing quietly by. In the meantime, your legs are feeling very heavy, and the heaviness is going from your toes to your feet, to the muscles of your calves and your thighs, feeling very, very heavy and relaxed. Good. Excellent. The heaviness is now going into your hands, from your fingertips to the muscles of your hands, your forearms, and your upper arms, into your chest, your stomach, the muscles of your back, your neck, all feeling very heavy, around the muscles of your face, your jaw, feeling very, very heavy, very relaxed and calm, feeling wonderfully well. And imagine that you're sitting in the middle of a movie theatre, and on the screen before you is a black and white photo of yourself just before that very first time, or the worst traumatic time that you can remember, when you have failed to achieve an erection. Then just leave your body and float up into the projection booth so that you can look down at your body sitting there in the theatre, looking up at the screen. So from the projection booth, you begin to play a movie in black and white. And this movie shows you your unsuccessful sexual experience. Take it at your own pace, confronting and accepting. But when the end is reached, stop the movie. Make it into a slide. Now turn it into colour. And now float up and into the screen. And let's run the movie backwards, taking only 1 to 2 seconds to do so. As you take it backwards in reverse, there's people walking and talking fast and funny noises, anything. This time, from the beginning, run the film in colour and with you inside, but this time, replay that movie exactly how you wanted it to be. You can choose so that you are experiencing sensational sex. See yourself achieving and maintaining a firm, strong, pulsating erection. And follow through all the way to a most magnificent climax, feeling yourself self-satisfied, seeing your partner happy and satisfied. Good, excellent. And now just come back into your body and just imagine yourself sitting by the bank of a beautiful stream. Everything is peaceful and calm. Concentrate upon a very positive sexual experience that you've had in the past and let yourself build up this experience. Remember how she tasted, how she felt, the warmth. Use whatever fantasies arouse yourself. Remember how strong your erection was, how confident you felt. And as you imagine all of this wonderful success, repeating, just take your dominant hand right now and make a fist. Just make a fist and under your breath say, yes. I'm successful at sex. My erection's hard and strong. I feel good. Excellent. Well done. And keeping your fist with your dominant hand, now just open your non-dominant hand and begin to pour into it all your old past negative thoughts. Any times that you regretted the strength of your erection or the failure of it, put into your open non-dominant hand anything that reminds you of feeling like you were a failure or not good enough as a man. Put any negative thoughts about, what if I can't get an erection? I'll just be quiet for a few moments as you pour anything that is typically just yours but is no longer necessary, no longer useful, into your non-dominant hand. Good. Now make a fist with both hands, all the negative thoughts in your non-dominant hand, all the pleasurable thoughts in your dominant hand. And now think only of the success, of that wonderful sensational sex life that you deserved. And keeping the fist with your dominant hand, just open your non-dominant hand and just let all of those negative thoughts just cascade away from you, disappear, roll away, dematerialize, so that you are instead focusing on that strong fist, that thought that your erection is there for you anytime that you need it. So look forward now into the future, the next time that you're with the partner that you want to be. Just visualize now the foreplay and make a fist. Yes, I have an erection. It's firm. And visualize yourself entering the vagina and having a strong erection that is maintained. Feel the strength in your fist. Yes. I'm performing competently. And just so that you don't have too great expectations of yourself, allow the thought that you may begin to lose your erection. And you can change your negative thought into a positive. Focus on the pleasurable feelings and allow your arousal to build up your erection again. And feeling it begin to get harder and pulsate and stronger and warmer. And you can cope if your erection is not there exactly when you want. And you can use all of the techniques to enable your erection to become fully strong and there for you just in the way that you and your partner wants. So just now take a few moments to continue to imagine successful sex all the way until a wonderful crescendo of orgasm and positive feelings. Well done. Good. So now just take a big deep breath and relax. And congratulate yourself by focusing in your mind's eye, by allowing yourself to be deeply relaxed and rehearse successful sex. You will find that these suggestions will be there for you. You will find that it's easier and easier to have strong erections and enjoy sensational sex. Now I'll just count backwards from 3 to 1. If it's appropriate, you can drift off into a beautiful sleep. Or you can open your eyes feeling refreshed, invigorated, alert, and very, very happy. 3, 2, and 1. Eyes open, feeling good. Well done. You've absolutely proceeded all the way through the main techniques that psychologists and sex therapists recommend. Now I'd just like to make a note now for the woman who may be supporting her partner through this program. Thank you very much for your support to date. Remember, no one is to blame. Assigning blame's always unproductive and often unjustified. Look to the future. Think in terms of we, not just he or me. People who successfully overcome their difficulties work together as a team. They grow stronger as a couple as they confront and solve the problem. Some pointers on how you can help your situation is to remember to be warm and friendly and keep being physical towards your lover. Let him know that you want to still hug and kiss and cuddle him, but that you don't expect intercourse. Don't tell him that intercourse doesn't matter, because if he believes you, he'll just start to question how much you liked intercourse before. If he doesn't believe you, he'll say to himself, she thinks I'm so fragile, she can't tell me the truth. Don't get into arguments. Encourage him to have a medical evaluation. And do participate in the diagnosis and treatment. Make your needs and concerns known to the sex therapist, just so long as you focus on solving the problem. And remember, continue to enjoy non-sexual activities together. Don't let the erection problem be the focus of your life. So, I sincerely hope that this tape has been helpful. I've seen many men and women suffer with sexual problems for years because they didn't have the correct information. And I've also seen those same people overjoyed when they quickly and easily resolve their problems. I hope this tape can help you experience a rewarding and enjoyable sex life. You deserve to have sensational sex.
Well, I'm sure you've been challenged by and learnt a lot from Dr. Janet Hall's recommendation for encouraging you to have a sensational sex life. Many people have asked what other concerns respond well to sex therapy. At the Accelerated Success Centre, Dr. Janet Hall and her colleagues consult with men on common male difficulties including premature ejaculation, failure to get or maintain satisfactory erections, and common female difficulties like lack of orgasm, painful sex, Shared difficulties such as low desire, mismatched desire, conflicts about sexual practices and expectations, and interests, sexual anxiety, sexual addiction, and relationship difficulties. If you're considering consulting a sex therapist, it's recommended that you first ask the following 10 questions. 1. Does your therapist treat you with respect and understand your problem? 2. Are you assured of absolute confidentiality? 3. Are you offered prompt service? 4. Can you receive health fund rebates? 5. Is there consideration allowed for potential embarrassment and shame about sex? 6. Are you referred to user-friendly reading material? 7. Are you encouraged to pursue a clear treatment plan? 8. Do you get expert answers to your individually unique sexual concerns? And 9. Is your therapist professionally accredited? And finally, 10. Is your therapist an acknowledged expert in sex therapy? Of course, Dr. Janet Hall's clinic can answer yes to each of the previous questions. Some folks may be interested in having individual treatment, so to ask any specific questions or to arrange an interview, please call the phone number on this cassette pack. If you wish to retain anonymity, you may prefer to contact the 1900 phone number that's on this cassette pack. Or you may wish to visit Dr. Janet Hall's sex therapy website pages on the internet. Or you may care to contact Dr. Janet Hall directly via email. You may be interested in obtaining free copies of some of the material Jan has prepared to help people have a sensational sex life. These include a recommended book list, your sexual history questionnaire, how to do sensate focus, and various performers which help you assess your sexual anxiety, your sexual desire, and detail how to ask for and even decline sex gracefully and successfully. For the reasonable price of $9.95, which includes postage, you may purchase a set of information packs which includes the hottest sex topics, such as achieving orgasms, overcoming premature ejaculation, achieving and maintaining erections, solving sex drive conflicts, and how to spark up your man or your woman's sexual desire. This information is for your instant reference source, for brushing up on the facts, facing the most common difficulties, identifying the most common obstacles, and following a step-by-step program to overcome the problem. You'll also read a few case studies which show how others have successfully solved their problems and went on to experience sensational sex.